Here we are on the next section here called 7:11 a.m. How did she die? I asked Mom. Was she hit by a car? No, she stroked my arm. She was old, sweetie. It was her time. She wasn't that old. She was sick. What? So they put her to sleep? I asked incensed. How could they do that? Sweetie, she was in pain, she answered. They didn't want her to suffer. Isabel said that she died very peacefully in Nate's arms. I tried to picture what that would look like, Daisy dying in Nate's arms. I wondered if Augie had been there too. As if that family hasn't been through enough already, Mom added. I didn't say anything. I just blinked and looked up at the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. Some of them were coming unstuck, hanging on by just 1 or 2 points. A few had fallen down on me, like little pointy raindrops. You never fixed the stars, by the way, I said without thinking. She had no idea what I was talking about. What? You said you were going to glue them back on, I said, pointing to the ceiling. They keep falling down on me. She looked up. Oh, right, she said, nodding. I think she hadn't expected the conversation about Daisy to be over so quickly, but I didn't want to talk about it anymore. She got up on top of my bed, took one of the lightsabers leaning on my bookcase, and tried to jam one of the larger stars back into place with the end of the lightsaber. They need to be glued, Lisa, I said, just as the plastic star fell down on her head. Right, she answered, picking the star out of her hair. She jumped down off my bed. Can you not call me Lisa, please? Okay, Lisa, I answered. She rolled her eyes and pointed the lightsaber at me like she was going to jab me. Thanks for waking me up with really bad news, by the way, I said sarcastically. Hey, you're the one who asked me about it, she answered, putting the lightsaber back. I was going to wait until this afternoon to tell you. Why? I'm not a baby, Lisa, I answered. I mean, sure, I love Daisy, but it's not like she was my dog. It's not like I see her anymore. I thought you'd be really upset, she answered. I am, I said. I'm just not, going to start crying or anything. Okay, she answered, nodding and looking at me. What? I said impatiently. Nothing, she answered. You're right, you're not a baby. She looked at the plastic star that was still stuck on her thumb and then, without saying anything else, leaned down and stuck it on my forehead. You should call Augie this afternoon, by the way. Why? I asked. Why? She raised her eyebrows. To tell him how sorry you are about Daisy. To pay your condolences. Because he's your best friend. Oh, right, I mumbled, nodding. Oh, right, she repeated. Okay, Lisa, I get it, I said. Grumpity grump grump, she said on her way out. You have 3 minutes, Chris, then you've got to get up. I'll turn on the shower for you. Close the door behind you, I called out after her. Please, she yelled from the hallway. Close the door behind you, please, I groaned. She slammed the door shut. She'd be so annoying sometimes. I picked the star off my forehead and looked at it. Mom had put those stars on the ceiling when we first moved in. That was back when she was trying to do everything she could to get me to like our new house in Bridgeport. She had even promised that we would get a dog after we got settled in. But we never got a dog. We got a hamster. But that's hardly a dog. That's not even 1/4 of a dog. A hamster is basically just a warm potato with fur. I mean, it moves and it's cute and all, but don't let anyone try to fool you that it's the same as a dog. I called my hamster Luke, but she's no Daisy. Poor Daisy. It was hard to believe she was gone, but I didn't want to think about her now. I started thinking of all the things I had to do this afternoon. Band practice right after school, study for the math test tomorrow, start my book report for Friday, play some Halo, maybe catch up on The Amazing Race tonight. I flicked the plastic star in the air and watched it spin across the room. It landed on the edge of my rug by the door. Lots of stuff to do. It was going to be a long day. But even as I was ticking off all the things I had to do today, I knew calling Augie wasn't going to be one of them. What do you think about Christopher? Kind of has a little attitude. I don't know. Grumpity grump grump grump. Like his mom said. Can you believe he was talking to his mom that way? All right, next chapter, friendships. I don't remember exactly when Zach and Alex stopped hanging out with me and Augie. I think it was about the time we started kindergarten. Before that, we all used to see each other almost every day. Our moms would usually bring us over to Augie's house, since there was a lot of times when he couldn't go outside because he was sick. Not a contagious kind of sick or anything, but the kind where he couldn't go outside. But we liked going to his house. His parents had turned their basement into a giant playroom, so basically it was like a toy store down there. Board games, train sets, air hockey, and football tables, even a mini trampoline in the back. Zach and Alex and Augie and I would literally spend hours running around down there, having all-day lightsaber duels and hot ball races. We would have balloon wars. We would pile cardboard bricks into giant mountains and play avalanche. Our moms called us the Four Musketeers, since we did everything together. And even after all the moms, except Isabel, went back to work, our babysitters got us together every day. They would take us on day trips to the Bronx Zoo or to see the pirate ships at the South Street Seaport. We'd have picnics in the park. We even went all the way down to Coney Island a few times. Once we started kindergarten, Zach and Alex started having playdates with other kids. They went to a different school than I did, since they lived on the other side of the park, so we didn't see them as much anymore. Augie and I would bump into them in the park sometimes, Zach and Alex hanging out with their new buddies, and we tried hanging out with them a couple of times, but their new friends didn't seem to like us. Okay, that's not exactly true. Their new friends didn't like Augie. I know that for a fact because Zach told me this. I remember telling this to my mom, and she explained that some kids might feel uncomfortable around Augie because of the way he looks. That's how she put it, uncomfortable. That's not how Zach and Alex had put it, though. They used the word scared. But I knew that Zach and Alex weren't uncomfortable or scared of Augie, so I didn't understand why they stopped hanging out with us. I mean, I had new friends from my school, too, but I didn't stop hanging out with Augie. Then again, I never hung out with Augie and my new friends together because, well, mixing friends can be a weird thing, even under the best circumstances. I guess the truth is, I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or scared either. Augie had his own group of friends, too, by the way. These were kids who belonged to an organization for kids with craniofacial differences, which is what Augie has. Every year, all the kids and their families hang out together at Disneyland or some other fun place like that. Augie loved going on these trips. He'd made friends all over the country, but these friends didn't live near us, so he hardly ever got to hang out with them. I did meet one of his friends once, though, a kid named Hudson. He had a different syndrome than Augie has. His eyes were spaced very far apart, and they kind of bulged out a bit. He and his parents were staying with Augie's family for a couple of days while they were in the city meeting with doctors at Augie's hospital. Hudson was the same age as me and Augie. He was really into Pokemon, I remember. Anyway, I had an okay time playing with him and Augie that day, though Pokemon was never really my thing. But then we all went out to dinner together, and that's when things got bad for me. I can't believe how much we got stared at. Like, usually when it was just me and Augie, people would look at him and not even notice me. I was used to that. But with Hudson there, for some reason, it was just so much worse. People would look at Augie first, and then they'd look at Hudson, and then they'd automatically look at me like they were wondering what was wrong with me, too. I saw one teenager staring at me like he was trying to figure out what was out of place on my face. It was so annoying. It made me want to scream. I couldn't wait to go home. The next day, since I knew Hudson was still going to be there, I asked Lourdes if I could have a play date over at Zach's house after school instead of going to Augie's house. It's not that I didn't like Hudson, because I did, but I wasn't into Pokemon, and I definitely didn't want to get stared at again if we all went out somewhere. I ended up having lots of fun at Zach's house. Alex came over, and the three of us played foursquare in front of his stoop. It really felt like old times again, except for the fact that Augie wasn't there with us. But it was nice. No one stared at us. No one felt uncomfortable. No one got scared. Hanging out with Zach and Alex was just easy. That's when I realized why they didn't hang out with us anymore. Being friends with Augie could be hard sometimes. Luckily, Augie never asked me why I didn't come over to his house that day. I was glad about that. I didn't know how to tell him that being friends with him could be hard for me sometimes, too. That kind of mirrors what Via said. Remember when Via talked about spending some time at her grandmother's house, or with her grandmother in Montauk, and how she said it was so great and she felt a little guilty because nobody stared at them. She didn't have to worry about, all the, fussing over Augie. So that's a common theme that they both had.